You are listening to Bedtime Dreamy Tales. Subscribe to our channel for new story. Story title: The Wild Swans. Far away in a land where swallows migrate for winter, lived a king with 11 sons and a daughter named Eliza. The 11 brothers were all princes, marked by stars on their chests and swords by their sides. They attended school diligently, writing with diamond pencils on golden slates, while Eliza sat on a stool of plate glass, reading a picture book as valuable as half a kingdom. The children were blissfully happy until their father married a wicked queen who detested them from the start. During the wedding festivities, while the children played at receiving guests, the queen gave them sand in a teacup instead of their usual cakes and apples, telling them to pretend it was cake. Shortly after, she sent Eliza to live with peasants in the countryside and spoke so ill of the princes that the king disregarded them. "Go out into the world and fend for yourselves," the queen commanded the princes, turning them into 11 beautiful wild swans. With a sorrowful cry, they flew out of the palace windows and over the forest. As they passed the peasant's cottage where Eliza lay sleeping, they hovered and flapped their wings, but no one noticed. They flew to a dark wood that stretched to the seashore. Meanwhile, Eliza grew up with the peasants, playing with simple toys like leaves, imagining she saw her brother's eyes through the holes she pierced in them. Her days were filled with whispers from the roses and hymn book, praising her beauty and piety. At 15, Eliza returned home. The queen, envious of her beauty, tried to curse her but failed. Instead, she rubbed Eliza's face with walnut juice, tangled her hair with ointment, making her unrecognizable. The king, shocked, declared she was not his daughter. Only the watchdog and the swallows knew the truth, but they could not speak. Heartbroken, Eliza left the palace, wandering fields and moors until she reached a great forest. As night fell, she lost her way and laid down on the moss, dreaming of her brothers. In her dream, they were children again, writing of their noble deeds in a magical picture book. She awoke to find the forest alive with the sounds of birds and the sight of the sun glancing through the leaves. Eliza wandered deeper into the forest, driven by the hope of finding her brothers. She met an old woman who told her about 11 swans with golden crowns on their heads, seen by the river. Eliza followed the river to the seashore, where she saw the endless ocean, smooth pebbles, and 11 white swan feathers which she collected. As the sun set, 11 swans with golden crowns landed nearby, transforming into her brothers. Eliza cried out in joy, recognizing them instantly. They embraced and told her their story. Cursed to be swans by day, they regained human form at night. They lived in a distant land across the sea, able to visit their homeland only once a year. "How can I break this spell?" Eliza asked, vowing to save them. She stayed awake all night, pondering, while her youngest brother kept her company. The next morning, the swans wove a large net to carry her as they flew back to their distant land. They soared high, with one swan shading Eliza from the sun. She awoke to the sight of vast clouds and the sea below, feeling as if she were still dreaming. In their new land, Eliza and her brothers found a cave where they could rest. That night, Eliza dreamt of a radiant fairy who told her how to break the spell. Gather stinging nettles from a churchyard, crush them into flax, and weave 11 coats for her brothers. But she must not speak until the task was done, or her brothers would die. Eliza awoke to find a nettle by her side and began her painful work. Her hands blistered, but she persevered, determined to save her brothers. Her brothers returned as men at sunset, understanding her silence and the suffering she endured for them. They wept for her, and where their tears fell, her pain eased. One day, while Eliza worked, the king of the land found her. Struck by her beauty, he took her to his castle, despite her silent protests. The king provided her with luxurious clothes and a room that resembled her cave, bringing her unfinished work. Though she missed her brothers, she found solace in continuing her task. The king, enchanted by Eliza, decided to marry her, despite the archbishop's suspicions that she was a witch. Eliza could not defend herself without endangering her brothers. She worked tirelessly, even sneaking out at night to gather more nettles from the churchyard, despite the ghouls that haunted it. Eliza's secret visits to the churchyard did not go unnoticed. The archbishop saw her and convinced the king she was a witch. Eliza was arrested and sentenced to death by fire. Locked in a dark cell, she continued weaving, praying for her brother's safety. On the day of her execution, she brought the coats with her. As she worked on the final coat, the crowd jeered, but 11 swans flew down and surrounded her. Eliza threw the coats over them, transforming them back into princes, though the youngest still had a swan's wing where she hadn't finished the last sleeve. "I am innocent," Eliza cried, finally able to speak. The people saw the miracle and bowed to her. Her eldest brother explained everything, and the pyre turned into a hedge of roses with a shining flower at the top. The king placed the flower in Eliza's bosom, reviving her. Church bells rang and birds sang as the brothers and Eliza returned to the castle. The king and Eliza were married in a grand celebration, surrounded by her brothers and the people who now understood her sacrifice. Eliza's perseverance and love had triumphed, breaking the wicked queen's spell and bringing peace to the kingdom. They lived happily ever after, a testament to the power of faith, love, and determination. If you like this story, please give this video a like. For more stories, go to bedtimedreamytales.com. See you in the next story.